presenting today a short practical workshop, you can call it, on Sanskrit pronunciation. This is basically a kind of a sample class from my upcoming course on this topic about the standard Sanskrit prayers and verses in ISKCON. And later I'll tell you more about the course closer to the end of this class. So ISKCON is a worldwide movement, and we have devotees from all the continents, all the ethnic groups, language groups, and so on. So however, the core of this movement, of course, is in Sanskrit, also in Bengali, but for this presentation, let's focus on the Sanskrit side of the movement. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Upanishads, Vedic scriptures, Mahabharata, Ramayana, and so on. And of course, numerous verses, shlokas, and glorifications, stotras composed by the predecessor acharyas. So this constitutes the core of the Krishna consciousness foundation, in scriptural foundation. And of course, coming from various language backgrounds, devotees do bring their own traits of pronouncing things in their own way, which is quite understandable. There's nothing to feel shy and shameful about. It's just very natural. So, however, let's say as a part of culturally enriching Krishna conscious movement, ISKCON, by making devotees a little bit more aware of the pronunciation subtleties of Sanskrit. This is important. Of course, you can say that pronunciation is not so important because there is a famous shloka about Krishna being bhavagrahi. Krishna accepts your mood, Krishna accepts your bhava, your devotional sentiments. He will not look so much into the technicalities of how you pronounce. That is a fact. However, we still hold the point, a valid point, that you want to express your devotion to Krishna in all the in all your activities that you do for him, isn't it? So just as in cooking, for example, one who cooks for Krishna will be very much encouraged to actually perform, to prepare newer and more exquisite varieties for Krishna's enjoyment. In the same way, devotees who have the inclination for languages and just in general, the devotees can also take up this Sanskrit pronunciation and gradually refining it as they go years and years in their Krishna conscious life for Krishna's pleasure. So it's not done with a view as to make yourself sound more impressive, or impress the crowd, impress the devotees around, and look a little bit more learned. And that is all, of course, we don't consider it. The sole purpose of it is to bring more pleasure to Krishna, because Sanskrit language is a very amazing language, and Vedic scriptures have descended into this world, in the form of this Vani, transcendental Shabda, and that transcendental Shabda assumes the form of Sanskrit language. So this is by no means an ordinary language. So why not take up this small personal set a personal goal to improve your pronunciation, so that you can chant during your puja, during your classes, and even for yourself, all these beautiful Sanskrit texts in a way that is the most close and exact to the way it's supposed to be pronounced, because Sanskrit, the way to pronounce it, first of all, has been passed down by generations of Vedic scholars who've been memorizing Vedic scriptures. And another thing is that all the way Sanskrit sounds are pronounced is described also in Sanskrit grammatical literature. and in Sanskrit Shiksha literature, which is specifically responsible for pronunciation. So we have the tradition, we have the description. So we learn from it, and we are presenting what we have scientifically concluded about it. And so for today, so that we don't just keep on talking theoretical things, although it's useful to put everybody on the same page. So let us now dive into practical things. And there are, I wanted to just summarize succinctly Sanskrit pronunciation, three most important groups of sounds that you should know in order for your Sanskrit pronunciation to shine. So what are those three rules that you need to know? I mean, pronunciation is a whole thing. I have a course, several hour course, and then I'll tell you later about it. But now, in a nutshell, so this is let me share with you my screen. So three most important Sanskrit pronunciation rules. Okay. 1, long versus short. Okay. 2, aspirated. 3, cerebral or retroflex. So let's go in order. Long versus short. So this is about vowels. Okay. And it's a pretty famous thing, well-known fact that Sanskrit has long and short vowels. And the vowels that are marked with the line above in transliteration, here we will not discuss Devanagari script and so on, are long. Plus, we should always remember that E and O, which are pronounced not like A, but E, without gliding into I. So it's E, not A. And O, without gliding into U, as it's usually done in English, like it's not O, but O. Okay, these are long vowels, even though we are missing that line above them. We should always remember. And of course, I and O, these are the gliding sounds, and those are naturally long. Now, let's take one verse from Gurvashtaka. And let's go through the first line, bearing in mind the long and short vowels. So I say sangsara, okay? Sangsara, not sangsara, but sangsara. So I do see that this A should be long, okay? The others are short. The next word is davanala, okay? Davanala. It's not davanala. Davanala would be just totally wrong way of saying, because this third A is not marked with a line. So davanala. And for those devotees who are new to this or not very used to observe these rules, you can exaggerate. Don't just double. So the general rule is to double the length of the short in order to get to the long. In other words, this is A, this is A. Yeah. But I say that in order to just really make it very firm in your mind, triple it. Just say davanala, just so that once you see that line above, you do not have any temptation of cutting it short. Okay. And the next word is leadha. Okay. It's not leadha, it's leadha. So that E is again long. And somebody would like to pronounce the last word? Anybody from the audience?
Loka.
Oh, Loka. Yeah. So that's what I was pointing out, that let's not forget that there is no line above O, but all the O's are long. So I will read the first line. Sangsara davanala leadha loka. Okay, without singing, without any beating of the hands or karatals. That's how we should do. We should just take a verse from the stotra or from the Gita or from the Mangalacharna and just read it without singing, because once you start singing, your the melody takes over and naturally, takes you away. So before you dive into the melody, just master the long and short vowels without any faults. Okay, so sansara davanala lead loka. This is how it sounds, just like that, raw, the raw sound. Okay, so let's go back to our 3 rules, and rule number 3 was aspirated, which is related to the consonants specifically. Yeah, the consonants, those all hard sounds when we use the tongue to block the airflow. So any consonant followed by H, I'm talking again here about the transliterated Sanskrit, yeah? Like here, bha, or k, or g, or dh, or th is aspirated. So what do I mean by aspiration? When you pronounce it, you do it in the pump more air from their lungs, and they say gha, gha, dha, which is almost as if they're creating that ha in their throats. But this is not the ultimate way of doing it, actually. The ultimate way of producing these aspirated sounds comes from the stomach, from down there. So it's just like if any one of you have did any Sangita or studying singing, even whether Indian or Western singing, you have to know that the strength of the air, of the flow, comes from down there, from below your diaphragm, from here. So I say dha, gha, ka. I should be feeling my diaphragm contracting. In other words, your belly goes inward. Yeah. Okay. So it's just to get this motion right. Otherwise, your aspirated consonants will not carry that beauty. It has an explosive quality. Okay. If you ever listened to Brahmanas chanting Sanskrit, it's very beautiful, it's very powerful, it's very it's filling the air all around the hall where they're sitting and chanting. But one of the salient features of their chanting, if they are really trained in chanting, is the ability to explode those aspirated consonants. So bhritya bhritya paricharaka bhritya bhritya bhrityasya bhritya smaramam iti lokanatha. So you can hear that bha. It's not just bha, it's bha, because I pronounce it from here. Bha, bha. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre bhavan bhishmascha karnascha. So it creates a big difference. So it sounds like much more punchy and much more the way it has to sound. So when you chant Sanskrit, please do try to remember about these aspirated consonants and pronounce them from your stomach, from down there, from your abdomen. Don't be afraid of exaggerating it, especially when you are learning. So say it's like dharma, dharma, and your stomach should go right in, dharma, or bhakti, bhagavan, bhagavad gita, bhagavatam. So we have so many words that you can, day-to-day words in our ISKCON parlance that you can practice your aspirated consonants. Okay, so now let's go to our Gurvashtaka here again, and we go through the second line. So tranaya, again, we observe those beautiful long vowels. I don't say tranaya, I say tranaya. This is another point that I would like to emphasize, is that in Sanskrit, naturally, when there is a long vowel, it does pull the emphasis on itself. It does demand to be stressed. Yeah. And because in a Sanskrit word, you may have more than one long consonant, sometimes even 4, the word will have 4 stresses. This is, in English, you go maximum to 2 stresses. Anybody can give me an example of an English word with 2 stresses? For example, the number 14, okay? 14, 13, those words, they have 2 stresses, 14, 13, okay? But not more than that. In Sanskrit, you have the word like pranayama, okay? 3 stresses. We used to have, when we speak quickly, we don't bother observing all that. But for example, you're chanting a line from the Gita or Gita Mahatmya, pranayama parayana. So you cannot say pranayama parayana. It's pranayama, dum, dum, dum. 3 times stress, yeah, naturally because of the length. So in the same way, I say here, tranaya, not just tranaya, but tranaya. And the next word is karunya, not karunya. In different languages, there are different traits. Some languages, like English, there is a tendency to stress mostly the second syllable in words. So we have devotees sometimes saying radhika or karuna instead of karuna. So anyway, I'm just giving you an illustration of how we bring our language backgrounds into Sanskrit. So here we have karunya. So tranaya karunya. And we were discussing aspirated. And here it comes. Ghana ghanatvam. So we see here one instance of it and another instance of it. Yeah. In transliteration, they're all followed by H. But as I mentioned, this H is not the H that you're pronouncing from your chest or from your throat. It's the extra gush of air that should come from below, from your abdominal area. So we have here ghana ghanatvam, ghana ghanatvam. And imagine one thing. Imagine you are doing Kapalabhati pranayama. You know that one, when you sit and exhale very aggressively. Yeah. So just do the Kapalabhati on this word. Ghana ghanatvam. Do you hear me? Ghana ghanatvam. Or if you're not familiar with the pranayama, with the Kapalabhati pranayama, you can just imagine yourself coughing. It's just the most common activity we all do time to time. So when you cough, you activate those abdominal, you activate the diaphragm, it contracts. I do contract my belly. So whenever you see that H after any consonant in transliterated Sanskrit, you cough. So ghana ghanatvam, ghana ghanatvam. You can try behind your screens now. So tranaya karunya ghana ghanatvam. That would be the ideal way of pronouncing it. Of course, when you sing, you might not enunciate it in such a very clear way. You might soften it a bit, but the fact remains that when you chant, you do increase that outgoing air. And let's go back to our third point, which was what was that? Oh yeah, cerebral. So point number 3, cerebral or retroflex. So these are the consonants with a dot below them, like we have t, d, n, and also the aspirated versions of them, like t or d. So remember these words, cerebral, or especially this one I like, retroflex. Of course, they all have their terminology, their names in Sanskrit, but I just don't want to throw it all on you. and make it a little bit more generic and easy to digest. So retroflex is a word that is actually revealing the way to pronounce them. So whenever you see the dot below consonant, what means retro? Retro. You say, oh, retro in terms of fashion. Okay, this is a retro. That is a retro car, which means this is very from the previous age. You know, you see sometimes car from 1960s, 1940s. You say it's a retro car. So retro means from Latin backward. Okay, not in a wrong way, but just directional way. So retro. So your tongue goes back, and this bending of it back, it's flex. You say somebody's flexible means they can bend themselves, both literally or figuratively. So bending backward, retro flex. This is the meaning of it. So it's a whole group of sounds in Sanskrit. So when I see the sound t written and the t with a dot below, so this one with the dot, I need to flex my tongue backward, and the sound will be slightly different. It's not just t, it's t, t. It's a slightly softened sound, and it comes when you bend your tongue and press it on the hard palate, which is kind of the, so imagine this is your teeth, okay? Tips of my fingers are your teeth. Here is the tongue, and yeah, like this. So this is the teeth, okay? And here's my tongue, and I bend my tongue backward and slightly press it to the area right above the upper teeth, okay? So you can do that exercise. Take your tongue backward and press it, press the lower side of it, lower side of the tip of the tongue, so that you will feel that there's kind of a rippled surface there, which is called alveola anatomically. So you are now in the perfect position to pronounce the retroflex sounds of Sanskrit. So t. Now release it, shoot it forward and say t, or d, or na, like the word in the name of Krishna. It's not just Krishna where na is touching my teeth. No, it's Krishna. You can see my tongue is there. It's up, and I say na, na, Krishna. So my tongue bends, Krish, and then I press it to that area above my upper teeth, and I shoot it forward with na, Krishna, na, instead of na, na. It's subtle, but you do hear it. You do hear it. And of course, you will hear it much better if I sit right in front of you. You will hear a very clear difference. Now, how much this microphone is able to convey, I'm not sure. But in good recordings, good quality recordings, and face-to-face, you will hear this difference very well. So these are the three most important, I'd say, challenging points that you need to be aware of when you sing or chant a Sanskrit verse. Okay, and let's go the third line of Gurvashtaka. The first, it will illustrate our retroflex sounds. We have them there, but let's start from beginning and say this word. Now, just say it without me. Read this word, the first word of the third line without me. Read it aloud for yourself right now. Okay, so now I will say it, and you mark whether you were saying it the way I say or not. The word is praptasya. Praptasya. Yeah. Many attempted to say it like praptasya, but no, praptasya. We have one long vowel here, and it will naturally attract the stress we make while pronouncing it. So praptasya. Now let's go to the kalyana. And here we have our retroflex, and I'll make it like this, slightly italic, tilted, okay? So kalyana, and not just kalyana when you touch your teeth with your tongue, but kalyana. Your tongue descends from your upper teeth. Kalyana. Next word. You can read it. Just try it. Just read it for yourself right now, and I will read it after you. So the word is gunarnavasya. Gunarnavasya. Your tongue has to bend twice. It's quite an exercise if you are not habituated to do it, but it's quite fun to do when you do it regularly, when you're already accustomed to the right pronunciation. So here is the line, the challenging line for the retroflex sounds. Kalyana gunarnavasya. So we have 3 of those erna instead of na. We say erna. So praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya. And we are not done yet. So here is another word. Now please say it. Please say it for yourself. I'll give you 2 seconds. The first word of the 4th line. So now I say it, vande. Okay, not vande, but vande. We all remember that A was also one of those long vowels, which does not need the line above, because there are no short variants of A in Sanskrit. Okay, next word is guro. Okay, another long one which doesn't need a line. Vande guro. This one, just pronounce it for time being, as you just silently let the air out. Guro. It's another whole separate topic of visarga and the ways to pronouncing it, which is not just one way of pronouncing it. So we'll not delve into it in this class. And Shri, naturally, here we have a line. So we say Shri, Vande, Guru, Shri. You can all repeat after me as I say every word. And we have another one. So now just focus on the vowels, which are short, which are long, and just say it for yourself. Then I'll say it. Okay, so the word is charanaravindam. Okay, charana. Here is the long one, and I can exaggerate it because I am learning. Charanaravindam. So Shri Charanaravindam. All others are short. Now I see one more thing from our 3 most important rules. It's the consonant with the dot below, just as we had in the 3rd line. So charanaravindam is not just charana, it's not na, it's na. Charanaravindam. Try to pronounce it in this way. Retroflex. So I'll stop sharing for time being. So Charanaravindam. Here is my upper teeth. This one. Let me see how did I do last time. Yeah, here is my upper teeth. Is my tongue. I'm sorry. So chara. I prepare my tongue. I touch the alveolar, the space above the upper teeth, and I say Naravindam. Chara Naravindam, not Charanaravindam, not here. Charanaravindam. So practice bending your tongue backward. This is so crucial for Sanskrit pronunciation because yeah, this is kind of the unique sound of Sanskrit, and it spread later on into all the Indian languages. So those of you whose native language is one of the Indian languages, you'll be very much used to this. Yeah, but outside of India, there are hardly any languages that employ this retroflex sounds. Yeah, and this is very interesting. It's not at all there in English. There is no English equivalent, even though you see in the BBT books some the approximate equivalents of how to pronounce all the Sanskrit sounds. But bear in mind that for many of those comparisons, it's just an approximation. It doesn't actually convey the way, the sound quality that is there in Sanskrit. So you have to just learn it like this. Charanara Vindam. You can't give even an English example of that sound or any other language. So this is 3 most important rules, and I'll share the screen again to remind you of it, and you can note them down. So the long versus short, aspirated ones, where we push more air from where? Let's see if you remember. From the abdomen, yeah, by contracting our stomach, like this. And cerebral or retroflex, when we bend our tongue, yeah, and always remember, pay attention to the line above vowels. Don't feel shy to stretch it. And those are the long vowels, also aspirated, followed by H. Remember this example, Ghana, Ghanatvam. You should feel your belly engaged in this sound. Ghana, Ghanatvam. And cerebral or retroflex sounds with a dot below. And you remember Karunya. And you remember Charanara And you remember also Tranaya. Okay, we had in the second line. So I specifically chose this first verse of Gurvashtaka as we sing it very often, because it very nicely contains all these 3 most crucial points that I have highlighted in today's class. So just polish it, polish this first verse of Gurvashtaka, and then you will see it everywhere. Okay, just keep this kind of a image or print it out for you, highlight it just as I did, okay, and look at it for 1 week, and every day in the morning and in the evening. Try to remember these 3 points that I have presented today. And whenever you see in future any other verse, you will naturally see it. It will all jump at you. You will see, this is the line. This is the line. You will not miss it. Loka. Okay, there is another O. It will not be highlighted, but in your mind, you will see highlighted because you're used to it now. And then Kalyana, Gunarana, Vasya, you will see those retroflex sounds. So this is how we slowly bring this Sanskrit correct pronunciation in, make it our second nature, make it our habit, little by little. Okay, start with 1 verse, start with 1 line, just master it. Give yourself a time. You have a whole life, and in this way, slowly, this thing will increase. And always remember that this is a devotional endeavor. It's not an endeavor for anything else, but just pleasing Krishna with the beautiful sound of Sanskrit. Okay. And another thing I wanted to just briefly, I'll try to end on time.
You can have five minutes more, probably.
5 minutes more. Sure. I'll just quickly just give you some information here. I had some more things to present, but definitely, you know, whenever you start anything live, you realize that you don't have much time. So there's so much more interesting nectar to share. But anyway, I promised to you that I will speak a little more about the upcoming course. So this is called Correct Pronunciation and Chanting of the Basic ISKCON Prayers and Verses in Sanskrit. Pretty long title. But anyway, I just didn't want to make it shorter. Let it be like that. So this is the course which will come out next month on my YouTube channel, Sanskrit Sense. You can visit it now. You can subscribe ahead, hit the notification. It will come. It will all be a free course. And it will also hopefully come in the ISKCON Kirtan Ministry's website as well. So I'm trying to target Vijaya Dashami, which is 15th of October, very nice day to do something nice, something significant. So this will be a small victory for me. Just releasing this course, you know, as a service to all ISKCON devotees, and so please keep in mind there's slightly less than 1 month to go, and stay in touch. I have sanskritsense.com, Nityananda Dasa. This is my website, so you can see what I'm doing otherwise, apart from this. And one more thing. Yeah. So the course will have demos. I will present the demos, and it will be a separate video where I just sing through or chant through that specific stotra or prayer as a demo. And then there will be a tutorial. For example, Gurvashtaka, there will be a demo video. Then there will be separate Gurvashtaka video, a tutorial on Gurvashtaka, where I'll be just zooming in into every word, explaining it. And plus, what's most important, I will also show you how to sing it together with karatals in such a way that you do not corrupt your pronunciation. This is so important. This is actually the most important point that I'm focusing on, because devotees might learn the correct pronunciation of all the sounds, but as soon as they take karatals in hands, again, the beat takes over, and then we try to, cut the long vowels short and extend the short vowels. Those who need to remain short, we make them long. So I have specifically focused on how we can preserve the correct way of pronouncing every line, every word, together with the beat, because most of the prayers we chant with karatals, aren't we? So this is, in that way, it will be a unique presentation for all devotees to learn. And I'm also preparing all the downloadable materials, MP3s and everything. So you'll get the whole package, which you can then, use and then learn and teach to all of your friends. So this is the thing that coming. So I hope you're looking forward to that. October 15th on the ISKCON Kirtan Ministry website. Hopefully we'll manage, and definitely on my YouTube channel, Sanskrit Sense. So we have a few more minutes. If anybody has any questions, I'll be very happy to answer.